I'm starting to have more appreciation for Michael Jordan and Kobe. Michael Jordan, terrible human being off the court, but when that motherfucker was on the court, he was giving his all.
If LeBron James held that standard at the NBA and was like, no, motherfucker, the best guys are going to do the dunk contest. When it comes to the All-Star game, I'm going to go to Adam Silver. I'm going to mold it and be like, yo, this is what we need to be doing.
LeBron has led the load management era. Welcome to The Real Oshow. I'm Zachary. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, my brother Joshua.
And today we talk about Kanye West, Drake and PartyNextDoor's first week numbers, Hulu's new viral show, and a lot more.
They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. We going hard for the hand. We gonna stack till we jaded.
This is a great interview. They doing their thing.
Did you see the theory about Kanye West and Bianca, his ex-wife, him essentially trying to humiliate her in the public because she works for the FBI?
That doesn't seem very far-fetched.
And so you believe it?
No, I don't think that's... Listen, from the beginning of time, they used women to infiltrate powerful men. They've been doing that forever.
But it seems like he knew that if he was humiliating her.
No. He might have found out after the fact, but there's a reason why Kanye married her in the first place. It was because there's a husband-wife confidentiality. So no matter what, informant or not informant, like they would still have to catch him doing some wrongdoing, which I don't think Ye is in that predatory, kid trafficking. Like he's not that guy.
He just says some crazy shit that influences people.
His Twitter or X is outrageous, but he is trying to do that. He is trying to have crazy takes that is going to offend people, but he's just thinking out loud. He just is typing everything he's thinking. And I also think he's trying to test, can he get canceled again? Can he? I don't think he can. I think he's like uncancelable now.
Do you think he put his money somewhere else where they can't get now?
I mean, I don't know.
Because once you get canceled, you almost like, okay, well, if I'm going to get canceled again, you kind of learn like I got to put my money here, there, somewhere else.
I don't even know how you avoid it, because if you have your money in any bank, they could just take your shit.
Not in Switzerland,
but like he must be in other countries. Maybe that's why he spent so much time in Japan. I have no idea why, but there's obviously some reason.
We're not going to get into the nitty gritty of his Super Bowl commercial because obviously we don't want to take it there. But how is the NFL or the Super Bowl like not checking into that?
Well, one, the reason why that was able to run was because he did what is called a local ad, which means it only ran in certain states that have lesser rules. It didn't run in like major markets like California and New York.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it didn't go to everyone.
So did you think he still paid the $7 million?
Oh, of course. But it's a local ad. Like there's other local ads. They're more far and few between now, but they're sometimes a little cheaper, the local ad, but it goes to other markets, but you have more free range.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so like his didn't go out. His last year one, that went to everyone. That was a national ad.
You should do a video on that. You should actually do a video. I didn't know. It might be a little iffy, but you should do the local ad to that. I had no idea that was even a thing.
I can separate the artist from the music,
100%. Well, you know what? It's actually funny you take it there because I was just listening to Adin Ross was on Nelk Boys podcast, but it was really just Kyle, which I actually like where Kyle's taking it, just doing solo podcasts now.
It should be. I mean, Steiny's doing solo podcasts and killing it. Like
For
Kyle
sure.
should be doing the same thing.
So Adin Ross was on, and he's obviously tried to get Kanye on the stream for a long time. There's been 4 chances, and the last one he just got blocked by Kanye because Kanye told him to call him sir, and so he then did his Adin Ross shit and called him sir like 100 times and said, you called me sir too much, and got blocked. But that was his thing where he was like, you got to be able to separate the artist from what he's actually doing. He's like, I love Kanye's music. The shit he says is absolutely off the wall and insane, and he needs help. But I still want him on my stream because that stream would do numbers.
Listen, people need to also understand that artists are the most fucked people in the head. Like, when it goes down in history, you're just remembered for your art. Rarely are you remembered because you were putting anti-Semitic tweets out. Like, I don't think that's what he's going to be remembered for. Maybe for some people, but most people are going to remember graduation and all the great things that he's done.
People are going to remember that he was absolutely fucking crazy and put out some wild takes.
Yeah, but I think a lot...
Maybe not super specific, but I'm going to look back when I'm 80 and when our kids come to us and like, grandpa, uncle, whatever, they're gonna be like, do you know Kanye West? Did you like Kanye West? And I'm like, yeah, I liked him. He made music better, but he was fucking crazy.
Yeah, of course. But some of his tweets are crazy. Some of his tweets come from a place of like, he's not wrong. So it's like there it goes back and forth. Now, obviously, there's the extreme and there's less of the extreme, but he's also very hot. This is what he does. He goes in these waves where he tweets for fucking 2 weeks, then he goes dead. He'll delete his account. So it's like, you never know what the fuck Kanye's doing, but that's the whole point about Kanye. That's why it makes him great. Is he's not following anybody. He's just doing him, and he's doing what he's right. And for better or for worse, you know what? That's what's great about America. You can say dumb shit and be like, hey, you know what? That's just his opinion, I guess.
That is true. Let's stay in the music lane here, though. It's been a week since Drake and PartyNextDoor dropped some sexy songs for you. Sold around 250,000 first week. PartyNextDoor's first #1 album. Joshua, now that you've listened to it, 5, 6, 7 times, what is your true thought? Because I know we did the reaction. If you haven't seen our reaction, you're watching this on YouTube or audio podcast, go to our YouTube and watch it. Check it out. We went from the first song all the way to the last song, did a podcast at the end. But now that you've listened to it a ton, what are your real thoughts on it?
I think this project is hands down just through great. I don't want to say like as far as collaboration albums go for Drake, this has to be best. This has to be #1.
You want to know who said that?
You did say that.
I did say that. I would off the first reaction.
And people are going to be angry about that. But I think true as like musicians and artists, like Party is a true artist. Future is a hit maker. Don't get me wrong. 21 Savage, they can make hits. But when you talk about making good music, bro, PartyNextDoor and Drake, they just showed how versatile they were from top to bottom. They did everything. And it wasn't just Drake. It was Party. Like there's a reason why Drake aligned himself with Party. There's no secret about it.
I also want to go into the point that I've said a million times in this podcast, and I've said a million times to other people. To say a project Drake did 15 years ago or whenever, What a Time to Be Alive was, probably 2012, 2014, whatever that actually was. To say that project is better than something Drake made in 2025 to me is the most fucking insane thing
just
possible
nostalgic.
because it's nostalgic. It brings you back to that moment. It brings you back to your middle
school. But he is a way
girlfriend.
better artist today than he was back then.
But that's my point. Is it has been a decade, 12 years since he made that. Drake is 100 times better artist now than he was back then. So to say something like that is better than a project that he just put out a week ago, to me is just insane.
But to play devil's advocate here, it's like Marvin's Room, doesn't matter where it's on, where it is, like Drake has never made another Marvin's Room. That might be 1-1.
Yeah, but
just because of your timing, what it meant to culture, what it did for everything.
And I will never go against that. Marvin's Room, no matter what, is either my Drake #1 song or #2 song. It never gets out of top
100%.
2.
But like I hear what you're saying. Like he is a better artist today, but he had the hunger. He had probably more of a hunger back then. You saw in this last album, bro, Drake does this shit effortlessly. Bro, he does it effortlessly. It's not even fair. Like anybody, all these Kendrick fans, like you could see Kendrick fans reacted to it and being like, this is pretty good. And it's like, no shit, it's good. Kendrick Lamar has one thing. He can sit in one lane and he does it pretty good. Now, I will say J. Cole just dropped his new single, and I thought to myself, we're talking about lyricists. J. Cole's a lyricist where it's like his shit is mind-blowing, but you get it. Yeah. Kendrick's is like, I got to fucking study it for 6 months. Like, that's not cool.
I've always thought J. Cole was much better than
J.
Kendrick
Cole
Lamar.
it's like Kendrick isn't #1. He's not #2. He's probably not even in the top 5, if we're being honest with ourselves, from a musician standpoint.
Yeah.
Like,
from a versatility standpoint, I would actually agree with that.
Like, dude, he has his one thing.
He can rap. He can rap.
He has
some
some cool symbolisms. He's, he must be the smartest guy.
Or he's got some really good writers, which he definitely has writers.
He definitely has writers. Every Kendrick fan, he has writers. He has people helping him write these songs.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And then I also want to talk about, because T-Pain actually brought this up on his stream. I don't know if you saw it, but he thinks that Some Sexy Songs for You were all Drake's throwaway songs that PartyNextDoor then added verses to. I disagree. I completely disagree.
I thought T-Pain hated on the album.
But no,
I
don't think so. I think he's deep in the cut. T-Pain understands it, and that's where he was coming from, because he was talking about, and I didn't know this, he thinks that Drake gave him those songs to keep PartyNextDoor still signed to OVO. So that
100%.
he must have been out of the deal, or that was his
100%.
last project he needed. So that's why T-Pain was like, "Hey, take these songs. I already have them done. They didn't make any other projects. Add a verse, and the song's gonna go number one, or the project's gonna go number one because it's my name's attached to it." It's an interesting take. I disagree
agree.
with T-Pain. It looks like it feels like they at least wrote some of the songs together. Now, I will say the songs that just had Drake on it were probably songs that he's made before.
Okay, the Drake only songs I think were most likely throwaways from a past album.
Besides Give Me a Hug.
I
for
will
sure.
agree. Obviously, there's going to be some,
Yeah.
a couple in there. But for the most part, I do retract my initial statement about T-Pain because I think that he just holds Drake to that standard of like, he is so good that this was a great album and it was some of his throwaways. So I will say that. So I'm sorry, T-Pain. But in that same breath, this was a great R&B album. Great, just anything. I mean, bro, he had like Die Trying is like the Hey There Delilah. Like that's kind of like the very similar-esque. Like he had, there's every range, and obviously that's like a great song for me. And Pimmy's Dilemma.
I also think a project selling 250,000 first week when it's obviously not getting pushed. There's no advertising. They're making it hard to find.
But here's context to that because I think The Weeknd sold like 400,000. But you have to remember here, 400,000, 70% of those numbers came from bundles. Bundles are shitty clothing and other bullshit that when you buy it, they go, here's the album with it. So that hoodie was $80, but 12 of that dollars was the album. But you have to buy both.
And The Weeknd's merch is the number one thing on Amazon when you go to their website. So The Weeknd's obviously being pushed way more. Back to
But
my point.
30%. So only 30% of those were numbers. So if you take 30% of 400,000, what would that be? Like
Quick math.
120,000?
Hold on. Pause.
Yes.
Let me see. Let's just
120,000.
Check it.
Bro, that's shame on us, dude. This is what we've come to. This is what we've come to.
Oh, sorry.
What are you doing? This guy doesn't even know how to work a calculator.
Stop. 120,000.
That's what I. So I was right. Okay, which is embarrassing that we had to get the calculator out for that,
Bro,
But
that's the part of technology. I don't need to think. The calculator is smarter and more efficient than me.
I
to
think there
out
is
these
something to that.
fucking
Have you ever
numbers.
seen Idiocracy? Idiocracy is the epitome of that. Is we just rely on it so much where we just lose all those simple things where you get dumb as fuck.
It's
and then we
100%
regress.
right. Yes, it's 100% why AI will take over.
But it's not even that. I saw something where they were like the chips. They were saying something about chips in the brain. I was listening to some dudes in Boston talk about it, and these dudes kind of had some scary shit. So Severance is a big thing where you like implant the chip in your head. You go to work, you live a whole other life. You don't even remember it, and you just wake back up. So you like never go to work. One reality is only at work.
It's when you walk into work, you only know work, and then you walk out of work and you don't remember work.
So like
would you take that chip? Hold on, before we get into it, would you do that?
No, there's no amount of money because here's my thing.
I
The whole part about
could be convinced.
I was gonna say this. Adam Sandler gets a lot of flack, and not to get off on a sub point of a sub point, but Adam Sandler was way ahead of his time with Click because that movie didn't get the greatest reviews, but now there's a ton of shows that are based off that same fucking idea of like, oh, I'm just gonna skip to the next thing. And Severance is basically that, where you shut your brain off, but your other life is trapped there. And you know what the crazy part is? That person knows that they're trapped there forever. Like they know that only reality they will ever see is this white room. Like when I watch that show, bro, it actually guts me to my core. I'm like, dude, that is just the most fucked thing. Imagine if you were that person. You're basically a split reality now. You're literally two different humans. And I just think that's weird. But as I was saying,
it would make you incredibly productive at work and at home, though, if that's all you knew.
But guess what? Imagine, you were doing some really shady shit for this company, and they were like, hey, and they're hiding it from you. Then you discover it, and they just go, doop, reset the chip, and you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, it's your first day here. And look, and then they show you a video of you consenting to it when you were your other self, because that's what they do in the show. And it's like, you could just be in the cycle of
I've never seen it.
And then you can't quit. That's the thing. They don't let you quit.
What streaming service is this on?
It's on Apple TV. But it's honestly, it's fucking terrifying.
So you think it's going to happen in real life?
No, I think it will, because like even like with Elon, right? They're going to give you like, oh, you're going to be smarter. And then it's like, it's just going to get to a point where you're going to have to take the chip just to work at Amazon. And Amazon's going to employ 70% of the people in the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the chip, you're gonna be a fucking nobody, and you're gonna be an idiot.
Listen,
You're gonna be able to buy
I'm a
shit.
fan of what Elon is doing within Doge and the government right now. But for a long time, and I mean like years before I got really self-aware and educated, I just always had a feeling like Elon's got some like evil shit
But
up
I
his
don't
sleeve.
think. Listen, the chip thing is coming from a good place. Hey, this paraplegic person or this blind person, we could cure it.
Of course.
Like that in itself, it's like that's genius. But now when you turn it and see,
But
okay,
Josh,
capitalism is going to go,
yes,
we
but
can maximize everyone.
100%.
We can make
Listen,
everyone smarter.
Every bad idea starts as a good
100%.
idea. We talk about this all the time. It starts as this person can now see again. This person can now walk again. This person can fucking see through buildings. And then it turns into switch on and off, and now we control you completely.
Yeah, and what the crazy part, there's a real caveat in this Severance, and this isn't giving anything away for people that are like, oh, don't give any spoilers. The person who runs the department, she's neighbors with the main dude. So she like watches him what he's doing outside of work, not just inside of work. And he like just thinks of her as like some like old lady whose neighbor's like, oh, like doesn't like her and shit. It's kind of funny. And it's like you start seeing him, but she knows both worlds. So it's very, very, very interesting on who would really have the power. And I think about that all the time. It's like you want to be next to the powerful people just so you're in it a little bit.
Of course.
And we were even talking about it, not to just go on this deep show about like talk about shows, but like, you know, what's the Paradise?
Paradise. Yeah.
Just got
Renewed for season 2.
Season 2, which is a good show. There's 8 seasons in the first season. We're at episode
There's
6.
8 episodes in
episodes.
the first season. You said 8 seasons in the first season. 8
whatever.
episodes
I'm
in
an
the
idiot.
first season.
I might be dyslexic or something.
And it comes out once a week, which is actually
yeah.
kind of interesting because in this whole world of streaming services where it's like you can binge watch 8 seasons all at once, it's actually kind of nice where it teaches you a little patience.
No, there's that's coming back. The dropping like that is coming back.
But
and it makes
but
sense.
I like it.
But there's
I
a
actually
hype
like it.
around it. And again, it builds the hype week to week. Like Paradise, I saw a clip of that on Hulu and I was like, I have no idea what fucking show this is. I saw a clip of it.
But he took my recommendation. He won't give me credit, but I put him on the show.
Listen, I recommended Zachary to watch Fallout 6 months ago, which is basically the same exact fucking show, just a different plot line. It's based off the video game Fallout. And instead of a natural disaster, it's nuclear disaster. But the companies start the nuclear. It's not the countries, it's the companies that own the bunkers. They're like, fuck, we need to use these things or people are going to be out on them. And
That's so going to happen.
100%. Dude,
so gonna happen.
There's a billionaire right now who is building a $150 million basically it's an Equinox underground bomb shelter, and he's planning on building them in every big city in the United States. Then he's going to move across the country, and people are going to have a membership. You're going to pay like $5-6 million, $8 million bucks a year, and then if you want a house in there, you're going to pay up $20 million a year, and you're going to just be able to access it.
That's like paradise if you have a house.
Yeah, but it's different. It's gonna be different. They're gonna be like more like it's gonna be more like an apartment more than like houses, how it is in Paradise. And it's a legit bunker, and it's got like full blown rock climbing walls. Like they're building this right now. The first one's in Washington D.C. I wonder why.
Yeah.
But
It's a good place to start.
it's a good place to start. But they plan on building them all over. And my whole thought was, it's really not that crazy. Like they only will allow 225 members in the first. In that first location, they've already gotten like 3,000 inquiries about it. So it's like you already know how popular this is going to be, because here's the biggest thing. You know, this was inspired by the guy who he built this one rich dude, $100 million bunker in South America. The dude was at a concert. I think it was a politician he built it for in South America. And the politician was at a music festival, like doing something like political. They killed him. And they said
After he built the $100 million bunker.
and so they were saying like, what's the point of having a bunker if you can't run anywhere to it? So it was like, because he was in a different city for the festival, had he been able to just go to the bunker instead of he went to his hotel, where then they came into his hotel and killed him. And so they were saying people are going to use these, like these billionaires aren't just going to use this for bomb shelters. Like when they go to a city, they're not going to stay in a hotel. They're going to go to their Equinox bomb shelter and just stay there.
I love
secure.
We're going to stay in the conspiracy lane because I love conspiracies and it's what I thrive off. And I probably think too much about conspiracies, which gets me out of reality.
But
But
conspiracies aren't that crazy, because
there's always some truth to it.
we did conspiracies for the last 5 years, and 98% of them came true. And the other 2% probably
Would you
will.
like to drop them?
No, I won't.
And so we get fucking
Banned.
banned.
Yeah, we'll get banned off YouTube.
But I want to talk about Bitcoin, but specifically the rumors that are going around about Jack Dorsey, ex-Twitter co-founder, now is really the founder CEO of Block, which is a peer-to-peer payment network that you can buy and pay in Bitcoin. But he's essentially being rumored to be in Satoshi Nakamoto, essentially the genius, the brains behind the operation, Joshua. Does it help or hurt Bitcoin if it's Jack Dorsey, or if we ever discover who the actual creator is?
Yes, I think it does hurt it. I think it does hurt it, but I will say whoever is that one, I don't think it's one singular person. I think it's a conglomerate of people that are under one person. But with that being said, whoever did it seems like they did the ethical thing. As of today, 2025, seems like they've done the ethical thing. Because at this point, the hypothetical rug pulls that do happen today, the people that made it clearly foresaw that and realized we have to set the tone of what it means to have a cryptocurrency. So I do believe that they did the right thing. So whether it is Jack Dorsey, whether it's fucking the U.S. government, whoever did it, I think they did a good job. As of today, 2025.
And I want to give people the details on why they think it was Jack Dorsey. All right. So the first ever transaction on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin network, happened on Jack Dorsey's mother's birthday. The final block of the Bitcoin network was mined on Jack Dorsey's father's birthday. Satoshi Nakamoto's email was hacked, where they discovered that there's a major connection to St. Louis, Missouri, where Jack Dorsey was born and raised. And obviously for a long time, like way before Bitcoin became like mainstream popular, Jack was a major advocate of decentralization and Bitcoin. Now, there's a massive wallet, and I don't remember the exact number, but it's hundreds of millions of dollars of this cold wallet that like hasn't been used since it was pretty much created, of like hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin that's never been moved. Obviously, once that ever starts moving, shit's going to get massively dicey in the Bitcoin
That's where
world.
I was going to say. It's like if they rug pulled that, Bitcoin would have went to zero.
I don't think it'll be rug pulled.
Well, now I don't think it will.
But like, a couple Bitcoins go here, a couple big, like that. It's almost like the analogy I'm thinking of right now is what's the game show?
But the whole point of it is, though, if you were the founder, like you created Bitcoin, you giving yourself those off the rip and just like never touching them makes the most sense in the world, because you were at zero. So you could have bought in as much as you fucking wanted.
Which is they probably did.
Exactly. So
course.
That's why I don't think there's a need to touch that ever. And it was a standing point of like, look, we're just not going to, like, this is dead. It's just never going away, because, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's a time capsule thing
where it starts releasing
a little bit. I don't know how it's going to work, but at some point, maybe it's 100 years where I don't know. I think, listen, I believe in Bitcoin because I just see where the world is going. And it's like, I was just at the Four Nations, U.S. versus Canada. No one accepts cash anymore.
No stadiums do.
Exactly. So that's my point, where if you can't pay cash, it's just going to be a cryptocurrency. It's just going to be like the US dollar is going to be USD currency. It's whatever. But
that's my biggest thing with Bitcoin, and probably my biggest problem. And I buy Bitcoin. I see the positive side of it. I also do think it's possibly a massive onboarding process to make people understand that the U.S. digital currency is okay because Bitcoin's okay.
Yeah, but
so I do think about that a lot.
The meme coins are definitely scaring a lot of people.
Oh, the meme coins are ruining everything.
Especially like Argentina. That was a horrible thing for cryptocurrencies and meme coins. But I think for long term, for the people, that might have been the best thing, because it's like now we get to be skeptical and be like, hey, motherfuckers, their government fucked them. So what's to say you guys won't? Because let's be honest with ourselves. The people running the government over the last 200 years for America, it's not like they were the most upright people.
No.
So
I do think the Argentina guy got set up, though. I fully believe, because like we know how it works at the high level. Very successful people, they have a team, they have people they trust. People bring ideas and they're like, yes, let's do that. Yep, okay. If you think it's good, let's do it. And I think that's what happened. Someone in his team, somebody came to him and was like, hey, you should do this. You should tweet about it. They gave you some coins, whatever. Like, you should post about it because it's good. It's going to invest in small businesses and entrepreneurs, and it's going to allow the world to invest rather than like stocks or whatever. That he was like, sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. Like, this dude literally took a terrible country with 20% inflation, turned it into 2%, had the first budget surplus in like 20 years. Like, imagine if the U.S. had a budget surplus. Imagine.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's like, he's done so much good. For him to then go rug pull, I think he just got.
Has he said anything about it? Has he said anything about it?
He did say something about it, that he thinks it was other politicians that to make him look bad.
I don't know.
And I fully believe that.
It really could be, but here's my thing. You at the highest level, you cannot be doing shit you yourself do not understand. And if you cannot fucking...
That's his accountability.
If you can't fucking understand that was a possibility, then you're an idiot. Because here's my thing. If you're the fucking president, why the fuck would you let anyone else do it? I would be like, no. I'm going to have my own team. I'm going to handpick these motherfuckers because it really matters. Like, that motherfucker's face would have been on the cryptocurrency had they done it the right way. It would have been his fucking face. It would have been like, look, and it would have been the model of the world. The whole world would have been like, look what Argentina did. We're going to copy Argentina. So, like, I think that's where, again, and he's a president. He's got a million fucking things going on. It'd be dumb of me to say that he doesn't have a million fucking things on a day-to-day basis that are probably way more important than, the cryptocurrency he really doesn't understand.
But that's why I think he got screwed, and it was kind of perfect timing. It could have been someone bought and paid for and is screwed. That's where I was giving him a little bit of empathy and a little bit of rope, where, one, if you bought the cryptocurrency, it's 100% on you if it gets rug pulled. Like you didn't have to buy the cryptocurrency. Like, that's where we just had a discussion this week. Everybody wants to point fingers at other people about these meme coins, and like Dave Portnoy came up where he's like doing these meme coins, and like Dave trading, he's going to launch a meme coin and he's probably going to rug pull it and it's going to hurt him. I'm like, yeah, it's probably not the most ethical thing if someone launches a meme coin. Yeah, I agree. It's not the most ethical thing to launch a meme coin regardless whether you rug pull or not. But at the end of the day, everybody has free choice. No one is getting a gun put to their head to buy a fucking coin. If it gets rug pulled, and or you rug pull,
listen,
you sold quick enough. And I want to say that to say this, and because I want to circle back before we get like way off topic about meme coins, because I didn't think we were going to talk about that. I want to go back to the Four Nations.
Yeah.
Joshua went to the championship, U.S. versus Canada. I predicted Canada was actually going to win this game. He didn't believe me, but Daddy's always right.
But anyways, I never said that. I never said that.
But I want to talk about something important. I don't know. Did you see the clip of PK Suban talking about the NBA and the NHL?
Yeah.
Let's show it here.
Hockey's a different sport from the NBA. You can't compare the cultures because of the way the game is played. You can step on an NBA floor and go through the emotions. You can't do that in hockey. You can't. Like, the culture of our sport, you have to play it with passion. You have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to leave it on the ice. That's what fans are investing in. So for us, when we charge $1,500 for a ticket to come to fans know what they're getting.
So one, I respect PK for saying that because he was 100% right. The way hockey players, and I have a lot of appreciation for hockey players. Obviously, Joshua played. I went to the games. I love watching it. Love the fighting. There's just way more heart in it. And we've talked about this in prior episodes. The NBA players have just made so much money, and they're just way too cool for school. They know they don't need to play every game because they have so many brand deals. They can go anywhere. Everybody knows them. But the NHL is absolutely dominating the NBA in so many ways.
But here's the thing. I think it's top down completely different, and I think that people don't talk about this enough is in basketball, yes, the players don't want to play every game. They want to have their, whatever they call it,
load management.
But the teams want that. Like, the teams want them to be ready. I'm telling you, the teams want that. The coaches don't care that they're sitting out. In hockey, it's the complete different. Like, they're like, you just ate a puck. You lost all 9 of your teeth. They're like, bro, are you ready to go back out there? Like, that's the culture that they've built. And to me, I'm like, there's no way in hell. One, you're right. They have made a lot of money. But hockey's culture is team, where the NBA has built a culture off of individualism.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like
they've and I said this before, they've glorified the superstar.
Yeah.
They've glorified the 40-point game. They've glorified the triple-double. They've glorified the MVP. And that is the worst things to glorify.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm starting to have more appreciation for Michael Jordan and Kobe. Michael Jordan, terrible human being off the court, but when that motherfucker was on the court, he was giving his all. And I'm not saying nobody else that's on the court. I think the players when they play are actually trying, but the fact of the load management,
Not
but you
stars.
can, but the thing is like basketball is the one sport where you don't really need to try hard and like you can still put up 25
Yeah,
points.
but that's the thing though. Playing the game, that's what all these NBA stars are doing. They're like, look, bro, look at my stat line. I was 38, 5, and 7, dude. That's like that's a sick game. But then you watch them half the game they're on defense, they were a fucking liability. So it's like, yeah, your stats look great, but you're fucking a liability everywhere else. And that's my point is like the hockey, the best players in hockey, the reason why hockey is so good, there's like Hockey Canada won yesterday. You see Sidney Crosby, this motherfucker's won Stanley Cups. He's won Olympic golds. He's won everything. He's won every trophy you can possibly win in the game of hockey. And this motherfucker at damn near 38 years old is back-checking harder than everyone else. And you're just like, this is one of the greatest hockey players to ever play, and he's working his bag off. I better fucking be working my bag off. And I think in the NBA, if LeBron James held that standard at the NBA and was like, no, motherfucker, the best guys are going to do the dunk contest. We're not going to fuck off on the skill comp. Hey, when it comes to the All-Star game, I'm going to go to Adam Silver. I'm going to mold it and be like, yo, this is what we need to be doing. This is how we motivate the guys. This is what we're going to do. And lead by the front, like how hockey does. The best players are leading from the front.
LeBron has led the load management era in a lot of ways.
Listen, LeBron will probably always be my GOAT because I grew up with him. But at the tail end of his career, and it hurts me to say this, but like he is doing a lot more harm to the NBA right now than he is doing good. And he's at that point where I think he's got a year or two left and he has to leave because it's like it's tainting how the game is. You look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're the only team that has heart. They're the only team that for every game actually gives a fuck. They're an anomaly in the NBA. That's why I have a future on them, so I'm not like saying this out of bias, but they are a team where you're like, I like these guys because they kind of put the ego aside and they're like, you can see that they're genuinely a close team.
And you could probably look at the last 8, probably 10 years, the teams that win the championship play the most together.
Yeah.
The Nuggets, the Celtics last year, the Warriors dominated. They played every single game together. There was no load management. Like that's why all these teams with the 3 big superstars or all these people, they never fucking win. It's why the Lakers only won the bubble championship and they didn't do anything. Like the Miami Heat, yeah, they won 2 championships, but they lost the first year to the Dallas Mavericks. Like superstars don't mean championships. Like playing good team basketball, playing together and having chemistry wins. And I just wanted to bring that up because I just think what hockey's doing, I'm gaining more appreciation to this hockey where I'll say this. Going to a NHL game, the product is going to be way better than going to an NBA game. The atmosphere might be cooler in the NBA because it glorifies
on any given night.
On any given night, the NHL is going to be a better product than the NBA.
Yes.
Now, where the NBA actually wins, and it kind of goes back to the guy who bought the Washington Redskins, and he talked about how NFL teams, Josh Harris is his name.
Yeah.
Harris, I think it's Harris.
Yeah, you're right. He owns the 76ers too.
Yeah. That he bought the Washington Redskins for a record price because he sees football as social media virality. That is actually where the NBA wins, is it wins on social media. It wins. And for hockey, the only thing I really saw on social media was the 4 Nations when they had the 3 fights in the 9 seconds. And I was like, okay, that's viral. But that's why the NBA, to the average person is winning. But if you go to the average NHL game, the average NBA game, the NHL product is better and actually needs a lot more appreciation than it's getting.
Yeah, NHL has way better product than the NBA, and that's the only reason why they're even still a professional league anymore is because I personally think the NHL has old motherfuckers running it that are stubborn, that are like, this is how we did it back in fucking 1968 and it's still gonna kick and work,
which is baseball too.
Exactly.
In a lot of ways.
But like that's when that goes away and they start leaning into these players and they start, there's little things that they can do. They need to get the Kai Cenats there. They need to get the fucking Drewskis involved. You need to get the streamers involved. Like, why are they not inviting Speed to do his own fucking live stream at a game? Like, you have to be influencing the younger generation. You have to be getting those clips. You have to be winning on social media. I was saying it the other day. I was like, bro, if the NHL hired us, I swear to God, we'd have that bitch turned around. The first thing I would do, drop dress code. No more you have to wear a suit to the game, because then I'm going to encourage.
Is that an NHL rule?
Yes, you have to wear a suit to the game.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Then you start creating the tunnel walks. Now every day we have content that we are pumping. Oh, look what Brady Tkachuk's wearing. Look what Matt Tkachuk's wearing. Look what fucking Sidney Crosby's wearing to the game. Like you start having viral content of just tunnel walks. Now another thing, the NHL won't let you post fights. So when fights happen, they will like block content. They don't want it out there. They don't want the violence. They want more goals to be highlighted.
Bro, I want
to
watch Sidney Crosby snort a line off his hockey stick in the locker room before going out.
100%.
That's what I want.
You have to show the physicality. Bro, people, that's the one thing.
That's why football wins.
That's the one thing that was one thing that was missing at the game yesterday, USA versus Canada, was there was the physicality dropped after they did 3 fights in fucking 9 seconds.
Do you think they sat him down and was like, hey, don't do that shit?
The teams, every team, I guarantee you, every single team was like, stop that. They went to Brady.
What do you mean, like the NHL teams?
Yeah, every individual team called their guys, were like, look, I know you're playing for your country, I know, but we have a very pivotal time here after this.
So they ruined it.
They've ruined it. 100%, bro, because there's too many games. Like, you look at the tournament was too long. They did too many games. That's the one knock.
It should have been 2 games. How it was, it should have been done. 2 games.
Yes, exactly my point. Like it should. U.S. and Canada, like they shouldn't have even done a championship game. It should have just been
whoever wins.
Yes.
Whoever goes 2-0 wins.
Yes.
Yeah. I
100%.
That's what I was like shocked when you were like, I'm going to the 4 Nations. I was like, didn't they fucking already play? And it was a week apart. Like, what the fuck was that?
Like, you could tell, though, dude, these guys were just gassed. Like, shout out to Dylan Larkin. This motherfucker was a 4th liner the whole week. Best player on the ice yesterday. Outside of, like, McKinnon and Crosby. But, like, Dylan Larkin for USA. Like, you want to talk about a guy who was fucking working his sack off, doing everything. Bro, shout out to Dylan Larkin.
So you're happy the Red Wings signed him to an extension? You just don't think he's the guy.
I just don't listen. He was a 4th liner. So it's like he's the guy. And the best 4 players on the ice were all on Canada. So it's like the next best player was Hellebuck, our goalie. So it's like when you talk about the next best player we had, Jack Eichel maybe is probably the best, or maybe you could put Matthew Tkachuk up there, but they're probably in the 8 or 9 range. Like Canada has the top, 8 of the top 9 players on the ice. And it's not even close, actually. It's not even close. So, with that being said, I don't know. To me, I kind of lost my train of thought there talking about them, but
it's all good. In essence, the NBA sucks. The NHL product's better. And
it was great.
More
it was just too long. Sorry. I got to get back to what it was. It was just too long. Those guys were gassed. Dylan Larkin was a 4th liner. He went up to the 1st line because he was the only one who had the motor in him still. So, with that being said, it was just too long. And these guys got to play tomorrow. Like, there's me guys that played 5 fucking games while they should have been in Cancun chilling. Now they're banged up, bruised even more, didn't get a break, and now they're going back again to the spin cycle. So I think that a lot of those guys are probably going to be taking a couple personal days for these next couple games back, and their teams.
Yeah, but I think the NHL got it right with the 4 Nations Cup. They just got to make it shorter. They got it right.
Listen, the officials at the NHL are kicking themselves right now, being like, oh my God, I can't believe it was that big. Like, no one thought it was going to be that big. No one.
It got me to give a fuck about it.
Everyone gave a fuck. Bro, people were openly chirping the fucking NBA All-Star team. Like, if you don't think Adam Silver saw that, like, even Kevin Durant saw it. He was like, maybe we shouldn't even have an All-Star week. We should just give us a break. You should do that. The NFL should not have an All-Star game. NBA, just scratch it.
You
give
actually
the guys
want
a
to know
break.
my theory about the NBA All-Star, what they should do. So this happened in, I believe, 2016, 2015. Draymond Green challenged Kevin Hart to a 3-point competition. I actually think that should be the NBA All-Star. Like, Kai Cenat should fucking go against some other NBA person. Kevin Hart should go against some other NBA person for the content. I don't care about the basketball game. I want to see our favorite influencers. I want to see Jake Paul fucking play one-on-one against Kevin Durant.
You know what?
That's what I want to see.
I got a fix for the NBA because these guys won't give a fuck no matter what format you do. So I have a better idea.
I bet they would if they went against influencers.
No, I have a better idea because That is the legality of it. When you put the professional athletes with people that suck, now you open up the lane for injury. That's why I don't think that's ever possible. But with that being said, I think the NBA should move their... Okay, this is actually a great idea. The NBA needs to move their All-Star game to the end so it goes before the finals. You give the Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals a little break, and then you do All-Star week. You give them an extra week break, and then you do the finals, and this is what you do. You do multi-days, and you do like a golf tournament. You do like a bunch of random-ass shit and let these guys showcase their other skills because no one gives a fucking basketball. It's just a vacation anyway. Might as well have fun with it. Then you can have the influencers. Hey, you're paired up with golf. Hey, we're going to do dodgeball. You got Jake Paul next to you, whatever. I think then you can
and then the teams that are in the finals don't do that.
Don't do that. They just
like
sit
the
out.
Pro Bowl.
Exactly. Just like the Pro Bowl. They don't play in it, and it gives those guys in the finals an extra break.
But the
then you have a better
NFL's doing
product.
that. But the NFL's doing that, and people fucking hate that.
Because the NFL doesn't do it right. It's the NFL.
You think they should be doing a golf tournament too?
Yes, they should be doing
maybe
completely different stuff. Like to me, it's mostly about what can we clip out of this. Like what would be cool things that will live on the internet because these guys don't give a fuck. They really don't want to be here. They're just here because they're getting paid $200,000 to be there, and it's like an extra chip on their thing when they go to contract time. They're like, hey, I was a Pro Bowler. Look, so. To me, in my eyes, if it's just a pony show, make it a pony show. If it's just the circus, let's make it the fucking circus. Why are we beating around the bush and having a half-assed product? It makes no sense.
It's interesting. But if you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Until next week, see ya.
About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fake shit.